Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we have the weekly reading report for December 14th, 2025. I finished school, the semester of school at least. I have one more for my water treatment courses. We will start out with, as we always do, a check-in here on the Read What You Own challenge. The Read What You Own challenge is a challenge that I embarked upon on the 1st of November, where I have to read 12,500 pages of owned text, be it in physical form. Also, I'm counting Kindle. I've got a couple of those that get sprinkled in every once in a while. I have to read 12,500 pages of text before I can let myself buy any new reading material. It is how I'm kind of tampering down a bit on the physical TBR and all that. There are a few caveats on that. If I can get books for free, I'm not counting those. Like if I go and use bookstore credit, I'm not going to count those. I don't think I have any bookstore credit at the moment. I'm in a philosophy group that meets every other Friday. If I need to buy a book for philosophy group, I will do so. I've had to buy 2 of them so far. So our update this week, we added 1,396 pages were read, giving us the total of 5,527 pages of our 12,500 page goal. We're chugging along. We're chugging along really good. We are 43 days in. In this last week, I was actually able to add 11% of completion. We're now at 44% completion of the goal. If you watched last week's report, I was a little bit skeptical. I was falling behind just a little tiny bit of where I wanted to be. But this week, since I read nearly 1,400 pages, I was able to make up the lost ground, and now I am 1% ahead of schedule of where I would like to be. So everything's fucking groovy on that. Let's go ahead and take a look at what did I finish over the week. I finished 2 books, 1 big novel. Well, let's just show you here. The first thing I finished was The Last Argument of Kings by Joe Abercrombie. This is the 3rd book, final book, conclusion to the First Law trilogy. There was one plot issue that I had with this, which kind of just evolved around the monarchy, if you will. However strong or not strong that term could be used in this, depending on all the machinations that go on and the playings involved with it. There's a lot of political fuckery that goes on in this, which is very beautiful. Characters, awesome. There was some really good conclusions. It tied up just enough stuff at the ends, and it didn't tie up some things that I was actually very happy. There was a little bit of ambiguity. A lot of people say this is like their favorite thing ever. I don't know if I can go as far as to say that. I'm very excited to continue. I have the next trilogy. You can see there. I have the next trilogy, The Age of Madness, but I don't have the 3 in-between books. So pretty much as soon as I finish my Read What You Own challenge, those 3 in-between books are going to be one of the very first things that I pick up so I can continue on with this, because The Age of Madness is where people say that that's where people say that it's like the best thing that fantasy's ever done. I still think that the Blade itself, the first book, was my personal favorite. I hear that's a bit of a unpopular opinion. The guys over at Tudor Ramble, I think they agree with me saying that it's definitely the best. I get it. I like it because it's not plot forward. I like it like this one is. Enough about that. We'll talk about this here. This was very good. I would encourage everybody to read this. Following on the heels of the last Arguments of Kings, I finally finished up a book that you've been hearing me talk about for a couple weeks here. Always Coming Home by Ursula K. Le Guin. Here I have the author's expanded edition from Library of America. I have another mass market paperback copy of it, but I'll leave this one here for now. It's up there somewhere. This one was a struggle a little bit for me. This one was excellent. It's not like a novel. If you want a straightforward narration, this is absolutely not what you're going to get. This is assorted life stories. This is poetry. This is just biographies and charts and growing seasons. And it's an entire anthropological study, speculative fiction, Ursula K. Le Guin style of futuristic California coast living way, 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 way yonder in the future. There's a multi-part biographical story in this called Stone Telling. It's told in 3 parts. That is probably my favorite part of it. It's the most succinct and it's the most closest to something that you can really grab onto as a novel. I would suggest this to anyone who is super interested in cultures. It's super good in that sense. I guess I should say something about a rating here for these. The Last Argument of Kings, I gave a 4.25 out of 5. It was excellent. It was very good. It was just under the Blade itself. I gave a 4.5. So, and Before They Are Hanged, I gave a 4 even. So my rating of those would go book 1, then book 3, and then book 2, all of which were very good. Always Coming Home cannot get a rating. It is a book, and that it's very much not a book. It's a huge collection. The poetry in it is excellent, I will say. I'm a huge fan of Ursula K. Le Guin's poetry and how she goes about that. She put a lot of that in. Oh, this is the poetry of the Kesh, the people that it's a story of. However, it really, if you didn't know that, you'd be like, oh, okay, this is just good old Ursula K. Le Guin poetry. Last week, I was watching a video put up by Jay over at Paperback Journeys, and I believe it was his video on like, oh, mindfuck, like mindfuck stories, and he said, A Short Stay in Hell, which is this little 100-page novella, was a total mindfuck. So I realized I had that on Kindle, and I gave it a shot. I finished it in a day. It's very Library of Babel. Borges wrote Babel, if I'm not mistaken, the Library of Babel. It's all about these people waking up in hell, and it's this huge library, and you're in order to get out of hell, because it's temporary, all the scare quotes on temporary, you have to find the one book that is the story of your life. And up until that point, among this sea, just unimaginable library that is imagined, it seems infinite just because the number of books in it. And it's the story of these people just like Groundhog's Day, killing themselves in hell and waking back up only to have to go and look through the book again. And it's little vignettes. It did feel a little bit, I don't want to say lazy. The word came to my mind at certain points as I was reading it. I'm like, this seems a little lazy. It just seems very easy. Low investment. There's such a low page count that there's not a whole amount of depth that they really give to it, even despite the depth of the library, I know. I gave it a 3 out of 5. It's good. I liked it. I enjoyed my time. I regret nothing about reading it. I would read it again just because the concepts are fucking awesome. Let's go ahead and take a look at what I'm reading now. This is The Fires of Heaven by Robert Jordan. I'm making extraordinarily good pace on this. This comes after book 4, which is kind of a high point for a lot of people. It's, I believe, I would say, was the fastest paced book so far, was book 4. Book 5 is turning out to be excruciatingly slow, which I do not remember the first time I read it. I should say, I read the first 5 books of Wheel of Time 10 years ago. I got through book 5 and then I gave up. So, whatever happened in here got me to quit the last time. I am right about 350 pages in. 350 pages in. Excruciatingly slow. Excruciatingly slow. I like a lot of the characters that we're going on with here. We're not getting a lot of the, like, Rand in the background losing his fucking mind like we got in book 3. It's chugging along. I'm just trying to keep my nose to the grindstone with this one. Matt, Rand, Guin, Elaine, all the people that you love to love are there. All the people that you love to hate are there. There's a bunch of witch fuckery going on with the Aes Sedai per usual, which is awesome. Which is awesome. Yes, I'm liking it. I'm having a good time with it. It's just so much. Thank the gods I have the audiobooks for these, because I am I'm nearly 20 hours into this audiobook, and I'm like, what the fuck is he, what have we moved 2 feet? What are we doing? Keeping me sane in between the moments as I read this gigantic behemoth of a slow book, I picked up what is not a giant slow book. I am reading from my Library of America Philip K. Dick, The 3 Stigmata of Palmer Eldritch. This is giving me the life and the spunk and the fun and the crazy shenanigans that only Philip K. Dick can give me. This is the 3rd Philip K. Dick book that I've read. I started out, my very first one was Galactic Pot Healer, which right now is still my favorite. I then read The Man in the High Castle, which is the first in this book. I'm going front to back. This one's just chock full of, like, political shenanigans and Mars, and it's fucking hot, and drugs called candy, and there's, like, another drug that's trying to fucking weasel its way in here. I'm loving it. It's short, it's sweet, it's just sharp as a knife. It moves, which is exactly what I need, while Fires of Heaven is not fucking moving at all. So I do expect to be finishing up the Fires of Heaven and Philip K. Dick this week before we talk next. So what am I reading next? Hogfather by Terry Pratchett. This is technically the 4th book in the Death series. It's a very loose series of books by Terry Pratchett within Discworld, where death takes the most prominent role than he does in all the outside books. Books being outside of the quote-unquote death series. Death shows up in every single book, minus like 1 or 2 of them, I believe, in the entire Discworld series. In some books, he'll only show up for like 2 seconds, like an inch of a page, and then he'll be gone, but he will get in there. And I respect the shit out of Terry Pratchett for doing that. See what the back has to say on this. Who would want to harm Discworld's most beloved icon? Very few things are held sacred in this twisted, corrupt, heartless, and oddly familiar universe. But the Hogfather is one of them. Yet there it is, Hogwatch Night, that most joyous and acquisitive of times, and the jolly old, red-suited gift-giver has vanished without a trace. And there's something shady going on involving an uncommonly psychotic member of the Assassin's Guild and certain representatives of Ankh Morpork's rather extensive criminal element. Suddenly, Discworld's entire myth system is unraveling at an alarming rate. Drastic measures must be taken, which is why Death himself is taking up the reins of the Fat Man's vacated sleigh, which in turn has Death's level-headed granddaughter, Susan, racing to unravel the nasty, humbuggian mess before the holiday season goes straight to hell and takes everyone along with it. You know? So I get like my first thought, my first reaction to that is kind of like Nightmare Before Christmas, but Terry Pratchett's Discworld. I don't know anything further than that. Every single person that I've heard talk about it has been saying things of, like, it's beloved, it's loved. There's people who read this every Christmas. I really hope that I love it as much as I'm expecting to. Let's take a look at next week on the channel. What could we be looking forward to in between now and the next time we sit down for one of these weekly reading reports? Look forward to a video on my most read authors of 2025. There were a couple authors that I read 15 or like 5, 10, 15 of their books. We'll talk a little bit about those. You could probably guess what a couple of them are. But don't look over here. That's what I got going on this week. Let me know what you guys read in the comments. Cheers.